What's up, oddballs? Welcome back to the podcast. This is the podcast where we tell you creepy, odd, weird, strange stories from around the globe. How are you doing?
I am fabulous. How are you?
Oh, just wonderful and jet lagged.
You are wonderful. I was like, yes, you're very wonderful.
I'm just pushing through it.
You should be relaxed, though.
I came right back and right into everything. So
I know.
I don't know. I did stretch today, though. And after taking 2 weeks off of working out and like my yoga and stuff, for some reason, I'm way more flexible. So I'll take it.
You want to know what's just really crazy? This is so random, but I literally had a shirt pulled out to put on. And I was like, no, I don't really feel like it. And I'm really mad because it was a tan shirt with a Monstera on it. And you're wearing
a green shirt
with a tan Monstera. And now I'm really mad at myself.
I just bought this shirt.
It's really cute. I just noticed it and now I'm mad at myself.
This cute little lady talked me into buying 2 shirts for too much money in Lisbon, but it's fine because they're really soft.
How much was too much money?
$35 or €35 for 2 shirts. So honestly, like $40.
That's $40 for 2 shirts.
Yeah, but the thing was, I had just told Julia my goal on that vacation was to buy sweaters or jackets, and because I have way too many t-shirts, and then literally an hour later, I bought 2 t-shirts.
That's okay. You're on vacation. Whatever you say doesn't even matter.
I have a new rule where every t-shirt that comes into my closet, one goes out.
Mm-hmm.
And I stuck to it.
That's a great rule.
Yeah.
I don't know how to live by that. My entire closet is t-shirts.
Yeah, it happens. What's new with you?
Well, for those that don't know, we have not recorded in a very long time. You wouldn't actually know that, but it's been like 4 weeks.
4 weeks since we recorded.
So it's been a minute. And I haven't even really talked to Zach because he's been gallivanting across the world. But anyway, my mom adopted a pupper.
It's so stinking cute.
He is so cute, and I don't even understand. Her dog passed away 7 weeks ago. Our family dog.
R.I.P. little Brody. We love you.
He was the best little baby. And he sent this new dog. I can't even get into it.
From what you were telling me,
so cute.
Brody sent Bowie to you.
Bowie.
I love it too.
Well, I had a bunch of list names, and Enzo was my favorite. And Aaron loved Enzo, and my mom's like, really like Enzo's very cute. But then she kept going back to Bowie because she wants to call him Bo. But I don't think he looks like a Bo. I'm like, if you're naming him Bowie, he has to stay with Bowie, not Bo. And then she's like, oh my God, Bo is so close to Bro, which is what we call Brody. And Bowie's really close to Brody. I'm like, right, we should name him Enzo. And she still didn't do it. So whatever.
I kind of like Enzo, though.
I love Enzo. So now his name is Bowie Lorenzo Dunn. Because Lorenzo Enzo.
Okay, I like that.
Because Bowie Enzo doesn't go great. You know what I mean? It has to be like so Bowie Lorenzo. She doesn't know that I named his middle name Lorenzo, but it is.
That's fair. You were asking me for name suggestions when I was in England. And
you gave me the worst. Joseph and call him Jojo?
It was Joseph Jefferson or Sir Barkingsworth.
Jojo?
I don't...
Absolutely
listen.
Not. Nothing against Jojo, but no.
Okay. What else is new?
That's really about it.
Nice.
Well, do you have anything else new? No, you've just been...
I just went on my Euro cruise. Came back and went right back into work. But the vacation was great. It was very, very needed. And now I'm ready to build my savings back up.
I mean, thankfully you were on a ship for the majority of the time where you didn't have to spend too much money, but yeah.
And it was a free cruise too, so I didn't spend too much. London was way more expensive than I was anticipating, though.
Yeah, it is.
That was the rough one.
What else was I just going to say? Dang, I feel like I was going to say something, but now I don't quite remember.
I guess we should just get this shop open and get the episode going.
Fine.
I would ask if you had a question for me, but...
But you already know I don't. It's fine. What is your favorite place to go?
That's just way too open. Like, for what?
I don't know. What's your favorite place to go? You're mad that I've asked the question now.
Because it's like it...
Okay, let's talk about my favorite place to go.
Okay, what's your favorite place to go?
If you're craving a place where time slows down, the air smells like fudge and lake water, and history seeps from every stone path, then Mackinac Island is calling your name.
Are you finally covering Mackinac Island? How have we not talked about this?
No, I'm not calling Mackinac Island. I just fucking made that all up right now on the spot.
Well, you know what? Never mind. I'm just not going to talk because every
Mackinac
question
Island,
you get so sassy today.
You got sassy. You're like, you can't. That question is so vague. That's not a question.
It's like my favorite place to go for what?
What's your favorite place to go?
Fine.
In general?
On the lake to go kayaking.
Right.
Away from everybody. You could have just
been like, oh, my favorite place to go is kayaking. It doesn't matter.
Well, it takes me a minute to think about that when it's so open.
Well, you can't get mad if I ask a question. You got mad that I didn't have a question. Then I gave you a question and you got mad about the question.
It wasn't a well thought out question.
It was perfect. It went right into my script so perfectly. All right. Mackinac Island is for dreamers, history nerds, romantics, adventurers, and people who need a damn break. Mm-hmm. Like Zach just got. You'll come for the fudge and horses, but you'll stay for the magic. Don't you agree?
I would agree, but I have only ever done day trips. I've never gotten to stay the night on the island, and I always feel so teased.
We do need to do that because the night it's not popping. It's probably like 11 o'clock and everything kind of shuts down, but like some of the bars are still open. But if you go to, my favorite thing is when you go to the bars that no one goes to, it's just like the locals go to. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's my favorite.
Perfect. We need to plan that. We've talked about it a couple times.
I know. Now, let me give you all the ways why it's not just a visit, it's a portal. Ooh. For those that haven't gone. The island was primarily inhabited and considered sacred by the, I hope I say this right. And you could probably, maybe
I've never heard of the I hope I say this right tribe.
And how did you know it's a tribe?
Because we're talking about something in Michigan.
Anishinaabe. And I totally meant to look that up before we recorded. I can't say it.
You spelled it so fast. Just go.
Anishinaabe? I think it's Anishinaabe people. So this includes...
It's probably Anishinaabe.
Anishinaabe. Thank you. It is that. Anishinaabe. I'm so bad at pronouncing anything. Y'all know by now. All right. So that consists of, or includes the Ajabi, right? Chippewa, the Ottawa, and then the Potawatomi. Say it for me.
Potawatomi.
Yes, thank you. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your tribes. I'm not meaning to, I promise. All right. So these groups form the Three Fires Confederacy, a powerful alliance in the Great Lakes region. Did you know?
I did not know, but I know now.
All right. So the name Mackinac comes from the Drabi word meaning
Ojibwe.
Great. Oh, thank you. I'm going to keep butchering it. You should just say it for me. Ojibwe. And you know what's crazy is I have it all pronounced next to it, but I still can't fucking do it. Which means great turtle.
Oh.
Isn't that cute?
Very.
So they believed the island was the resting place of the Great Spirit. And the island's shape, when viewed from above, resembled a turtle.
I can see that.
I kind of can too, with imagination. It was a place of spiritual vision, quests, storytellings, and seasonal gathering. What is it? Anishinaabe? The Anishinaabe.
I need to see how this is spelled.
You said it before. Anishinaabe.
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 Yes.
Yeah, you said it right. Okay. All right. So the Anishinaabe did not live on the island year-round due to the cold winters. It was used as seasonal camp for fishing, especially whitefish and lake trout, trade, and spiritual ceremonies. They built birch bark canoes, lived in wigwams. What are those? Those are the
It's like the round teepees.
Okay, that's what I was envisioning first. Okay. And followed sustainable practices of hunting, foraging, and fishing. So long before Europeans, the island was part of an extensive indigenous trade networks. So by the time French arrived in the 1600s, they found Mackinac already bustling as a hub for fur trading.
Which is like so weird. How do they decide that island is the trade center? Because it's not easy to get to.
No. So with Ottawa traders playing a key role as the middleman. So the French established relationships with indigenous groups through marriage, trade, and missionary efforts. And Mackinac was considered a thin place where the boundary between the physical and the spiritual world is narrow.
Which I feel like you can just feel when you're there.
That's what I'm saying. It's magic. So elders and spiritual leaders would conduct ceremonies and teachings on the island. Burial grounds and sacred spots were carefully protected and respected. As European settlement expanded, indigenous tribes were gradually displaced, especially through treaties like the Treaty of Washington in 1836, which relinquished much of northern Michigan. So today, descendants of these tribes, especially the Little Traverse Bay bands of Ottawa Indians and Sault Ste. Marie, tribe of Chippewa Indians, continue to maintain cultural and historical ties to the island.
But there's really not like a big native population on the island at all.
It's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very sad. All right, so let me give you a brief breakdown of some additional history like over the years. So the indigenous origins, so original inhabitants were the, how did we say it again?
Anishinaabe.
Thank you. Which I already went through what, that all entails. But they lived around the island for centuries. They considered the island sacred, believing it was the home of the Great Spirit. Like I said, they named Mackinac comes from place of the Great Turtle or Great Turtle. Okay, so that's how we all started. That's where all the magic is from, okay? So then the French and the British control from the 1600s to the 1700s. So the French period, the French arrived in the 1600s and established a fur trading post. The island became a vital hub to the North America fur trade, okay? Then the British takes over.
Of course.
So after the French and Indian War in 1763, the British took control, and then Fort Mackinac on the mainland was moved to the island in 1780 and became Fort Mackinac, a strategic military post. Which, have you ever toured that?
I did when I was younger, but every time I've been up there for the day, I'm like, I don't know if I want to bike all the way up there.
It's really cool. So then
and that was a British fort?
So yeah, so after the French Indian War, the British took control of it. Yep. So then the American era and the War of the 1812. So after the American Revolution, Mackinac Island was handed over to the U.S. in 1796.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the War of 1812, the British recaptured Fort Mackinac in a surprise attack. So the Americans tried to take it back in 1814, but failed. It was returned to the U.S. after the war ended in 1815. It's like the island has so much history. It's crazy.
It is wild.
So Victorian tourism and the rise of resorts was in the late 1800s. So by the late 19th century, the island became a popular summer resort for wealthy Americans escaping the heat of the cities like Chicago and Detroit. The Grand Hotel opened in 1887 and became famous for its 660-foot front porch, which is still the longest in the world.
I would have thought the Grand Hotel was older than that.
I know. 1895.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like it should be?
It does. Because, I mean, the whole island has such an old-timey feel to it, but... 1887.
Close enough. And it was, yeah, so, well, the next sign is 1895. So I'm sorry. So 1887 was the Grand Hotel. In 1895, Mackinac Island State Park became Michigan's first state park and the second national park in the U.S. before being turned over to the state, which I'm sure you probably knew that.
I knew it was the first state park. I didn't know... Is it still a national park?
The second national park. I think so.
Wow.
Well, no, because if it's turned over to the state, is it then considered just a state park or national park?
I don't know. We'll say state.
We'll have to look that up. So motor vehicles were banned in 1898 and are still banned today, giving the island its unique horse-drawn, bicycle-driven charm, which is our favorite thing about the island. Well, mine, I love it so much. Because you have to walk everywhere, or you have to do bikes, like horse rides. It's just so fun. Like the fact that you can't get on a car or anything motorized is just so fun to me.
It really adds to like you truly feel like you go back in time.
Yes.
Hey Hey, Kara, have you ever wanted to take your spiritual practice to the next level?
Oh, absolutely. And if you're looking for something that feels truly magical and not mass produced, you have to check out My Mystical Forest.
My Mystical Forest is like stepping into your own enchanted sanctuary. They offer handmade spiritual tools crafted with care, intention, and so much heart.
We're talking tarot card holders that make your readings feel elevated, pendulum boards that bring clarity, and spirit boards to deepen your connection.
And don't forget the incense burners to set the perfect vibe, plus crystal trays to arrange and organize all your favorite stones. Everything is a labor of love made from hand-selected hardwoods.
Whether you're a seasoned spiritual practitioner or just starting your journey, My Mystical Forest has the tools to empower and inspire.
Unlock the magic for yourself and seek harmony. Visit mymysticalforest.etsy.com. That's M-I Mystical Forest. And find the heirloom quality pieces that speak to your soul.
Also, for our little oddballs, for a limited time, enter code ODDBALL at checkout to receive 10% off plus a free pendulum, or simply use the link down in the show notes.
Goodbye.
Okay, so then just like a little pop culture note, Mackinac Island is the setting for the 1980 romantic time travel movie Somewhere in Time, starring Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour, filmed at the Grand Hotel. Did you know that?
Oh, I've never seen that movie, so no.
I haven't either, but I think that's like one of the most famous things. I feel like if you do any tours, they always talk about that. And that's where the famous kissing scene is or something. All right, so how are you feeling so far about Mackinac Island?
Nostalgic. I kind of want to go back. It's been, almost 3 years. No, 2 years.
2 years, because we both kind of went at the same time.
We literally, it's our usual annual trip to North Michigan where we both miss each other by a couple days.
I think it was 2 years ago we did that. Okay, so now let's talk about Zach's favorite thing.
Fudge.
A shipwreck.
Oh, yeah, those.
Fudge. Sure, we could talk about fudge. I didn't know that was your favorite thing. And not just one Mackinac Island has plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly 90 shipwrecks have occurred in the Straits of Mackinac. That's crazy.
It makes sense, though, because that's where the two lakes meet, and it gets rough out there.
I know, but it's like when you look at it on a map, it's like nothing. I mean, I know it is.
The Great Lakes are bad bitches. They take boats.
They're so bad. So the Straits of Mackinac are a vital waterway connecting Lake Michigan and Lake Huron, forming passage between the upper and lower peninsulas of Michigan. So here are some notable shipwrecks, because I cannot go through all 90.
Oh, man.
So the SS Cedarville, 1955, it was a steel freighter. It sank after colliding with a Norwegian ship in heavy fog. 10 crew members died, and it lies about 110 feet of water, and it's a popular dive site, but also said to have a uneasy energy. The Sandusky, 1856, sank in a storm carrying grain, one of the oldest wrecks in the area, remarkably preserved. And divers have reported strange whispers or feelings of being watched.
I don't know what I would do if I was diving and I heard whispers. I would have thought, I'm getting the bends. I need to go now.
I've got the bends. I would drown. I'd probably pass out and drown.
And become the next whisperer.
Eber Ward, 1909. So this was a wooden steamer, and it struck ice and sank. 5 crew were lost, and divers describe the wreck as eerily intact, like she's waiting to rise again.
It is just wild with how cold the Great Lakes are that it just preserves everything.
William H. Barnum, which is in 1894, burned and sank near Boise Blank Island. Is it Boise or Boise? B-O-I-S? Boise Blank Island?
That would be French, so it would be a silent, like a bois.
Bois Blank Island.
Bois Blanc.
Bois Blanc. I live in Grand Blanc, not Grand Blanc. Anyway, wreckage lies in shallow water, making it visible to snorkelers on clear days.
That would be cool, because at least you don't have to get too close.
To just see any of those. Mm-hmm. It would be sad, but it would be very cool. With lots of rich history, there has to be some horror. If the history isn't already horror enough.
It's so clever.
Because it's kind of horrifying. So Mackinac has a reputation for being one of the most haunted places in Michigan, and I wonder why.
We need to investigate there.
100%. I cannot wait. So Fort Mackinac, ghosts of soldiers past. The historic fort, dating back to the late 1700s, is said to be one of the most haunted locations on the island. Visitors and staff have reported 1. The soldier in white.
Of course, we got to always have the ghost in white.
So sighted near the Officers' Hills quarters and guardhouse. Described as a tall male figure dressed in a white 18th century British uniform. He is often seen standing still and watching people before vanishing into the air. They also hear disembodied footsteps.
Real quick, going back to that, when I become a ghost, I want to become the ones that vanish into the air, because I feel like that always gives people the most heebie-jeebies. Like, you see me for a second and then gone.
Because then you're like, wait, did I just fucking see that?
Yes.
No. So the second thing that they report is disembodied footsteps. So many visitors and staff report hearing footsteps pacing across wooden floors, especially in unaccompanied rooms. The sound of military boots climbing stairs or patrolling the perimeter has been captured during paranormal investigations. Number 3 is the haunted kids' quarters.
No, your favorite.
Toys in the children's exhibit area are said to move on their own, especially the rocking horse and dolls. Some say they've heard childlike laughter or giggling when no children are present. And paranormal teams have recorded EVPs of whispers and humming in the area. They also have apparitions in the windows. So staff has reported seeing faces or full body figures peering out of second-story windows only to find the building locked and empty.
Are there glass in those windows too, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some.
I was gonna say, because a lot of it feels like it doesn't. Like, that kind of adds to it, because like you're not seeing a reflection.
I don't remember. Maybe not. I just, because I did the tour 2 years ago. I don't quite remember. Maybe it doesn't actually. Or maybe some buildings did. I really can't. Are you looking it up?
It looks like they do.
Some of them. Okay.
Some do, some don't.
Yeah. Okay. Also cold spots and some sudden temperature drops. So cold drafts and sharp drops in temperatures have been documented, especially in the old prison cell and guardhouse. Some visitors report feeling a heavy presence or pressure in their chests while inside these rooms. They also have interactive ghosts. So tour guides have said they've heard their names whispered, felt taps on their shoulders, or noticed doors opening and closing by themselves. One even reported seeing an unseen hand hand close a ledger book in the commander's quarters. So like they didn't see the person, they just kind of saw
just the hand.
Yeah. Basically, like, this would probably be haunted just because of like the American Revolution, the war. The Civil War in Fort Mackinac saw years of military hardship, illness, death. Several burials took place on the island, and parts of the fort are built near or over old cemeteries and indigenous sacred land. So I can't imagine how...
Oh yeah, we got a recipe for disaster there.
Yep. And then obviously all the other wars and things that fort had seen. So the second haunted location is Mission Point Resort. And they have the Weeping Ghost.
That's just so sad.
I know. Once a college campus in the 1960s.
Really?
The resort. Mm-hmm. The resort
college?
is now.
Sorry.
I don't know. Look it up. I didn't look. I'm sorry. Every time I don't look something up, I'm like, I know Zach's going to ask me about it, and I still don't look it up.
I plan that way.
So the resort is now infamous for being haunted by a spirit named Harvey. The ghost of Harvey. Who was Harvey?
I've been asking myself that for the last 30 seconds.
I like that name, Harvey. It's cute.
It always reminds me of Sabrina.
I was just going to say Harvey Crinkle.
Horrible last name.
I think that was his name. Harvey Crinkle. Yeah, Mr. Crinkle. Okay. Harvey is believed to be a college student from the 1960s when the resort housed Moral Rearmament MRA College. Oh, there you go. MRA College. I did have it in here.
There you go. I needed to just be patient.
A short-lived utopian experiment. So the story goes that Harvey fell in love with a girl who didn't return his feelings.
Unrequited love is always the worst.
Devastated, he walked the bluffs behind Mission Point and took his own life with a gun.
Oof.
Yes, so Harvey's haunted legacy is that his body was discovered months later, frozen with a bullet wound and a pistol nearby, but his death remains surrounded by mystery and speculation.
Ooh.
So staff and guests report doors slamming on their own, footsteps in empty hallways, TVs and lights turning on and off, the sensation of being watched or followed, ghostly whispers, and sobbing in empty rooms. And Harvey's hotspot is room 2200, and it's considered to be the epicenter of activity. This room is where the guests have seen shadowy figures at the foot of the bed, felt cold spots and sudden drops of temperature, and reported being touched or shaken awake. Don't wake me up. Like, don't shake me awake. That's so rude.
Right. Just gently pull my covers back until I'm freezing and just be standing at the end of the bed.
Exactly. I'd rather have that. Actually, would I? I don't know.
Anything shaking is just like, it's so frustrating.
I hate it. It pisses me off. Paranormal teams have captured EVPs, unexplained knocking, and even like the lights flickering during investigations. And others report, other than Harvey, are children spirits. So some guests, especially those traveling with kids, have reported interactions with ghostly children, such as hearing laughing or singing, toys moving or rolling on their own, and feeling tiny fingers tug at clothing. I just totally forgot to tell you before I went on that I could not find really why people speculate that Harvey's death was not necessarily himself.
It seemed pretty cut and dry.
I was trying to figure it out,
but like,
I know.
Also, how did it take months? Because I like imagine the bluffs that far. Oh, he did it in winter.
He
okay.
was, yeah, because they found him later. Yeah. So I don't know. I tried looking that up and I couldn't find anything but also I couldn't really find anything that was set in stone that he really was a student there. So who knows? Another thing that happens here is unseen performers, which I think is so cool. The theater space once used by the MRA is rumored to be haunted by an actress or singer who never left.
So this is one thing that always gives me, because like the forts and the prisons and asylums, those make sense to me on why they're haunted. Yeah. But there's also so many haunted theaters. Like, I wonder if it's the emotion of so many people over the year.
I think it's probably residual.
Right. But I wonder why those spaces.
Well, it's so much energy. Think of how much energy you put into a performance.
I guess that's true.
You know what I mean? Whether it's like
you're putting residual energy into it too, because you're doing it over and over. Okay.
Over and over again. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's why I think theaters are
just like
haunted.
A slow imprint.
Yeah. So people have heard music playing, voices behind the curtain, and even stage lights flickering without power. I think that's so cool. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine just like hearing a performance from, I don't know, a million years ago? You know what I mean? Not a million, but like,
I know what you mean.
It's just so cool. Okay. So the vibe of Mission Point is not a scream in the night type of like haunting. It's more of like emotionally heavy. Like it's often described as melancholy or mournful, but like kind of like curiously peaceful. Like people don't ever really feel scared. They just kind of feel like at ease there, or just like sorrowful. I don't know. Which makes sense. The drowning pool, the haunted cove.
This one I've heard of.
Located between Mission Point and downtown, this eerie body of water has a chilling legend. So the legend of the drowning pool. Alleged witch trials, not necessarily Salem-esque, but very alleged. So the legend claims that in the 17 and 1800s, 7 women accused of witchcraft or moral crimes, often innkeepers, healers, or women who didn't fit society's mold, were tied to rocks and drowned here. Also, let me just put in here that my friend Brad sent me this article and was like, this is totally you. And it was literally just the witch trials of Mackinac Island. And this is literally what made me actually like finally do Mackinac. So shout out to Brad. Thanks, bro.
I think I've read this article last time I was there because we were looking for some of the haunted places. And this one's interesting.
But I don't actually think it's real because there's nothing proven that there was witch trials here, but I think it's really cool. Not cool, but So these weren't court sanctioned witch trials like Salem, but they were more like mob justice or community suspicion. So no official records back up any of these deaths, but the lore persists and many believe some dark things did happen here. So basically, the reported hauntings of the drowning pool are ghostly women in the water. Visitors claim to see figures of women rising from the hovering above the water, often wearing flowing dresses, which I'm sorry, that sounds so scary.
That would be
that is so unnerving.
Unsettling. Yes.
And then some report that the woman appeared to be watching silently, vanishing when approached. I don't know, but that really freaks me out. Bubbles with no source. So on still days, the water is calm, but occasionally bubbles ripple out of nowhere, said to happen when spirits are near. Which, that's kind of I don't know.
Here's one of those things where I think sometimes like the phenomenon precedes the legend, where probably the legend of it was built around this, but with it being such native heavy land and all that kind of stuff, it also very much all these things could be very similar to elemental or fairy energy.
Correct. Yes, I agree. But also the bubbles. I'm sorry, I can't really get down with that because there's
just
so much stuff living or just like, you know what I mean? But I understand like if it's really, really just like silent and still and you just see creepy little bubbles, I get it. You're already thinking this. Eerie sounds and voices. So paranormal investigators have reported hearing crying, screaming, soft singing. And then these sounds have often occurred at night or in the early morning mist, especially when no one else is nearby. So I'm not saying that these witch trials didn't really happen, but I don't know.
It's definitely
Those are some weird things.
I've read into those ones a bit, and there's enough evidence, whether the legend part is true, there's enough evidence that something is occurring.
Oh, for sure. So reflections that don't match reality is another one of these hauntings. They say that some guests and ghost tour participants have looked into the water and seen faces that weren't their own, or reflections that didn't match who was standing by them, which is kind of what they also think that these are the witches that were drowned looking back at you, which is so sad.
That is sad. Also, could you imagine like not seeing your own face reflected?
That would freak me out more than anything.
Yeah. Ugh.
Ew.
Nope.
So the atmosphere, they basically say that the drowning pool is only about 20 feet deep, but it's surrounded by overhanging trees and stone paths that make it feel like it's cut off from the island. And so many describe the air as thick and heavy, even on sunny days. Others experience a sense of like the dread and sadness, especially if you're like sensitive to energy, which that makes sense because if it is true, which it really could be, and just like the records were never held or whatever.
I imagine they probably didn't want to make it too public.
Well, no, right, for sure. But yeah, you could definitely see how the atmosphere would be very sad. A next one that we have is St. Anne's Cemetery, known for the restless spirits. So one of the oldest cemeteries on the island, dating back to the 1700s, it has its share of ghost stories. People have seen figures standing by the graves, especially near twilight. Some say they've heard chanting or voices near the graves of nuns and priests. We get it. Like, I got lost through there. Not lost, but I might have made Aaron go for a bike ride through up there. And then when we got to the cemetery, it was so dark that it was pitch black and we didn't have lights on the bikes because we didn't rent bikes, but our lights died. It was awful. It was so dark. The island has no lights, y'all. Like, it has no lights up there. There's no like street lights or anything.
Right.
It was so dark, Zach, that
because the only place that is like where the houses are, and like, and it's such a small part of the island that is actually built up.
We couldn't see shit, and Aaron was so mad.
I remember you telling me about that. He was pissed.
It was so good though. All right, the Grand Hotel, glitz, glam, and ghosts, baby. Even the iconic luxury hotel has paranormal rumors. It's built on bones, so the hell The hotel was constructed on what was once a military post cemetery, and the remains unearthed during construction.
I was going to say, did they move the remains? Or I would imagine if they unearthed them during construction, they would have had to.
Yes. So many believe that disturbing these graves and not fully relocating them left some spirits unsettled. So the most common hauntings and the spirits for there are the man in the top hat. The most famous ghost is a well-dressed gentleman in Victorian formal wear, often seen in the ballroom or near the grand staircase. And he's been spotted standing at windows, walking through the walls, or disappearing into air mid-step. And room 220 there is the room that has earned a spooky reputation for objects moving on their own.
We need to look up the numerology of this because that's 220 and the other one was 2200.
22. Yeah. I know. I realized that when I was doing research, I was like, that's weird. So lights flickering or shutting off, guests reporting feelings of being watched or even pinned down while sleeping. And then staff has often avoided this room if they don't have to enter it. So like they don't even want to be a part of this room if they don't have to. They also have phantom music. So reports of orchestral. Is it orchestral?
I think you can say, I think this is a potato. I think it's orchestral or orchestral. I think you can say it either way. We're going to go with
We'll go with that. So music playing late at night with no events that are happening. Guests hear waltzes and piano tunes drifting through hallways. Some believe it's echoes from a Gilded Age dancing, or maybe the spirits are still just partying, which that's what I would like to believe.
Right? I think we would definitely party in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you wouldn't have to deal with hangovers.
No, I don't think so. Well, we don't know.
And you could drink all the booze you want.
The booze. So they have a lady in white, described as a young woman in elegant white gown, seen floating through corridors, especially near the cupola bar. She's usually quiet and appears sad or thoughtful, vanishing before anyone gets too close.
Do they have any idea of who she might have been?
I didn't see anything that said that, no. The hallways are just kind of haunted, so guests and staff report sudden cold spots, shadowy figures in old-fashioned clothing, portraits that seem to watch people move.
Hate
like in the haunted mansion.
Oh,
I love it. And then, so some paranormal evidence. So paranormal investigators and guests have captured orbs, light
anomalies.
Thank you. EVPs or voices whispering or calling names, apparitions showing up in mirrors in photos. Ugh.
I think that's what I've seen the most of from the Grand Hotel is like the mirror strangeness, which is like, I feel like that's one of those things that are like sometimes happens, but that like they have so much of that there.
Mm-hmm. So some pop culture haunting, going back to the hotel, was the setting of Somewhere in Time, that movie, the 1980 romantic time travel film. So some guests say the energy of the film and the real life love story behind it left an emotional imprint on the hotel.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. So they kind of think it's actually haunted the hotel in a good way, obviously.
Yeah, like the intentional haunting we've talked about quite a bit.
All right, so we're going to go back to Zach's favorite, ghost ships, and I'm going to give you ghost ships and haunted waters.
I thought it was going to be fudge again.
So I'm going to give you some other shipwrecks.
Okay.
But the hauntings that have come from these ones.
You know I'm down for a haunted shipwreck.
La Griffon, which is 1679, the OG ghost ship. Built by French explorer La Salle, disappeared with 6 crew members and a fortune in furs. Has never been found despite centuries of searching, said to be seen drifting through fog near the straits. Sails full, but no one aboard.
I love that every one of the Great Lakes claims to have the original ghost ship in all their lore.
I mean, hey, I don't know. But that's creepy if you just saw it and it was clearly like a ghost ship, like no one was on it.
Right.
Then it just disappears. The W.H. Gilshire, 1892, the Steel Phantom. One of the first steel fighters on the Great Lakes vanished in a violent storm near Mackinac Island. Wreck never found. Some report seeing a ship matching her description on foggy nights, accompanied by a phantom foghorn.
I would love to see a ghost ship.
Wouldn't that be really cool?
It would be really cool, honestly.
That would complete my life.
Like, imagine you're just sitting on the porch of the Grand Hotel and just see it go by.
Yeah. Or I can envision sitting in the, what are those chairs called? Adirondack. You know, all the white Adirondack chairs. What if we were just sitting in one and then we just saw it going by?
Right after we just came home from the Pink Pony Club. I just love that they have a bar.
I should have worn my Pink Pony sweatshirt.
Oh my God, you should have.
I have it.
God, they had a good summer last year when that song took off.
They had to have.
Oh yeah, I saw so many TikToks of people because.
Oh really?
For people who don't know, there is a place on Mackinac Island called the Pink Pony Club. Oh my God, yeah,
no,
they
it's
had
just
a
the Pink
moment.
Pony. It's not a club.
Oh well,
just the Pink Pony. It's a cool shop, but an expensive restaurant. I've ate there.
I've only drank there, but their drinks are expensive.
Okay. Now, this would not be a Kara episode without a...
Talking about your watery butthole.
Reddit story.
I wasn't wrong, though.
No, you weren't. All right. So I think I have a couple quick Reddit stories to finish this off because I know this is a longer episode. I think. I don't even know how long we've been talking.
Yeah, we're right on average. But you also say every episode is a longer episode, so we're doing good.
And then it's like not. What was that?
I dropped something.
Oh. It sounded like I literally... Wait. Keep that in if they can hear it, because you know what it sounded like, and what Zach's expression was like, oh shit, it sounded like the bolt from your chair fell off, and I was expecting your chair to literally fall apart.
I fidget with my rings, and it literally hit every bit of metal on the way towards the ground.
But it literally sounded like maybe the bolt of your chair, and like you were about to go down, and your face showed that. So I was like, oh shit.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like a ship, like a shipwreck. All right. So this is double beginning 454. And this was 9 months ago.
Recent. Ooh.
That they wrote this, at least. All right. Employee and resident. The housing for my first season was definitely haunted. Windows and doors would open unexplainably and things would fall over or get knocked down for no reason. If you're interested, there's a couple books about the hauntings of Mackinac, which I have that book and I used it for my research. And there's a ghost tour that you can go on. Mackinac used to be a burial ground for Native Americans way before there were cemeteries. It's crazy how much history one island can hold. I just wanted to put this one. It's a very short one, but I thought it was really cool because she's a resident still and lives there. And like you could go to her page and she has a bunch of...
It's so fun seeing like the content from people who live there because it's like you're literally living in the 1800s.
Yeah, most people, they go to, well, a lot of people that I've talked to, they'll be there obviously for the summer. They'll work in like the horses and stuff like that. And a lot of them go to like Hawaii and then they work on the beaches in the winter. It's great.
Perfect.
So Shake Puzzle Headed 228, and this is 10 months ago. Hi, previous employee. Lived on the island for 5 years. The building I lived in was alleged to be haunted. There is a ghost story right in the back alley. It's definitely a weird feeling, but no ghost sightings in all 5 years. Now, the only ghost experience is one night I was walking super late from the gatehouse, and once I turned down Market Street, I took to the right down the street where Kingston's is, and the street light is going absolutely crazy, flashing uncontrollably. If you know any of the ghost stories, you should know that street is one of the most haunted due to the old cemetery being there. I just keep walking home, but every time I pass the street at night, I would look at that light and have never seen it like that again. Maybe I put that one in there because it made me think of you.
I was going to say, maybe a slider was just walking past.
I think so. And the wild thing about that is, those are the only really 2 stories that I could find people giving me haunted stuff on Mackinac Island, and both of them were employees, which I thought was kind of cool.
That is cool. I think this is one of those ones, though, that it has been investigated by some like the bigger names, and they're always, I feel like the EVPs are one of the biggest thing, and the mirrors. Yeah,
mirrors. And just, there's no other way to explain it except for it does feel like magical, because it just feels like you're in a time portal, like you just went back in time. Like, it's so weird. Anybody that can go or has thought about going and hasn't, go. It's so much fun. You probably don't really need maybe 2 days. Like, you don't need more than that.
One night is, I say as somebody who's never spent that, If
you do a whole day, like usually I'll do a whole day, spend the night, and then like do the next day, like for a little bit. But there is so much you could do. Like I said, you could tour the the fort. You can, I mean, it's only like what, 8.2 miles or no, what is the island? It's on my sweatshirt, my other sweatshirt. I can't think. It doesn't matter.
It's not very large.
It's not at all. You can ride it over and over again. It's so much fun. It's just beautiful. And you can get lost in all the, like the woods and like go in the cemeteries. And like I said, at night, you can find where all the locals hang out and you can ask them what's like the most tragic thing that's ever happened on the island, or like the number one crime like I did. And you know what the number one crime on the island is?
Horse thieving.
No. Bike thieving.
Oh,
and do you know why?
I was close. Why?
It's just because usually people are too drunk that live there and they grab the wrong bike.
I was gonna say, yeah, they just take the wrong one home.
Yeah,
the bikes all do look very similar because they're all like the old Schwinn style too.
Yeah, but some people have their own bike. Like if you live there, you usually bring your own bike. But like that was what the girl that lives there said. Yeah, the number one crime on Mackinac Island is bike thievery by drunken accident. Also, fun fact, Kara got engaged on Mackinac Island. Yay.
Oh, the biggest horror story of them all. No, I'm kidding. Wasn't that the same weekend that you got lost with him or no?
Huh?
That you and Aaron got lost on the bike trail?
No, that was literally 2 years ago.
Oh.
No, but what I will remember, I cannot remember he was really cool. I wish I could remember him. I wish I would have got his Instagram because he went to Hawaii in the summers, but the guy that drove our horses, he was really cool, but I will never forget that my horses were Reba and Rusty because he'd be like, Reba, Rusty.
I love that.
And then I got an allergic reaction.
Sounds about right.
To horses. Anyway, so that is Mackinac Island, my favorite place. My husband's for sure favorite place. We just love it. Zach loves it. We need to go together. We really do. But it's just a very magical, just a really cool place. And so you guys should look into it. And
they also have a place called Zach's Fudge there. And my parents never let me live it down because they say I found it. It just smacked me right in the face. Mostly because I was walking down the pier putting on a hoodie and I slammed into the Zach's Fudge sign and knocked it over and tripped myself.
Is Zach's Fudge still there?
I don't know if it is. This was a long time ago.
Because you ruined the sign and then they were like, we got to shut down.
It's just, they're like, well, he's way too cool. We can't be named after him anymore.
Was it spelt the same?
I don't remember. I was like 8 years old when this happened.
I think you fucking ruined Zach's Fudge.
Probably.
All right. Well, what else? Do you have anything else for Mackinac? Like, what else can you think of? Anything cool when you were there?
They're two of my favorite things, and one I'm way too old to do, but like going to like the blacksmith metal shop is always so fun.
Oh, yeah.
And then they have the insect and reptile garden.
I've done that.
It's more of like a butterfly garden than anything else.
Oh,
but at the end of it, they have a bunch of reptiles. So I always go there.
Oh, that's fun. I'll have to do that. You know what they have? I don't know how recent, but they have a I don't think it's like a haunted museum, but it's like a museum of like mystery or like
yeah.
What is it called?
It's not the mystery spot, but it is like
it's something like that.
Yeah.
I've never done that though. Have you? Aaron didn't want to do it.
Almost always been closed when I go.
Oh, because it's it looks like an old theater. It's really dark and it has it's
got like the Bigfoot out front and
and I think not Loch Ness monster, but the monster of the Black Lagoon or something. I don't even know. They have all kinds of weird, cool things there. It's just like you just gotta go.
It's just a fun.
So everybody
space.
Go. And that's really all I have for you guys.
And we always ask for write-ins, but the write-ins we want this time, if you've ever had experiences on Mackinac Island, let us know about those.
That too, but also from we need a call to action from our last episode. We need you guys to DM us some questions that you would want to ask Lauren, the mortician, for when she comes back.
Or you could call in.
You could call. Oh, that would actually be more fun because then she could hear you guys.
Yes, call in the questions.
Okay. Yep.
Phone number's down in the show notes. What emoji are we leaving for this episode?
Oh, a horse? Or a bike. A bike.
And isn't there like the island with I know it has a palm tree on it, but bike and an island.
Sure.
Perfect.
Bike, island, horse, whichever out of those you prefer.
We'll know what you're talking about. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
Oh,
who knows?
I also, hold on, y'all. I have one last shout out before we leave. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I want to shout out Kaylee. Kaylee DM'd us the other day, Zachary, and she wants you to cover a place. And I'm saying you because you're in Grand Rapids. I'll send you this. But she lives in Portage.
Isn't that in the thumb?
Portage, Michigan. I don't know, but she's a huge fan of us. And she is so pretty. You're so pretty, Kaylee.
Oh my God, no, it's right by Kalamazoo. Okay, that's by me.
I was going to say Portage doesn't sound that far. But anyway, so thank you for giving us a suggestion. Thank you for telling me I'm pretty, but you're really pretty, Kaylee. But anyway, that's my other shout out.
All right,
let's go.
Anything else we need before we close up the shop for the day?
No, the most important thing that you can do for us is to creep a real oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.